Good evening, everybody. It's Minister Ray, and welcome to our Oak Seed study session. I am so glad that you all decided to join me this evening. Listen, we are in Bible study. We are doing our brand new series called Back to the Basics. Yes, we are getting right back to all those juicy basics because it's been a long time. And guess what? It's good for us to be able to have some good foundation in us. And while we're doing the Back to the Basics, we're going to make sure that we fully understand exactly what it means to have dominion. Yes, you have dominion. Did you know that? Well, we'll understand how that is possible. But we'll first learn about the first someone who was given dominion. And so our title for today is From Deficient to Dominion. Yes, from deficient to dominion. Now we are in Genesis chapter 2, verses 19 through 20. It's just 2 verses, but they're 2 very important verses to help us understand all about dominion. Why? Because whenever God creates anything, whenever God created you, whenever God created me, he created us for a strategic purpose. So just in case you think you don't have a purpose, you do. And with that purpose, you have more dominion than you think. So we're going to learn about the first man who received it. So I gave you plenty of time to turn with me over to Genesis chapter 2, verses 19 through 20. I'll be reading from the New Century Version. And the word of God reads, "From the ground, God formed every wild animal and every bird in the sky. And he brought them to the man so the man could name them. Whatever the man called each living thing, that became its name. The man gave names to all the tame animals, to the birds in the sky, and to all the wild animals, but Adam did not find a helper that was right for him." Now, we're talking about from deficient to dominion. So let's dive right on in. Now, deficient means that you don't have something. It's lacking, it's void, there's nothing there, right? Or it's not enough of something. And so now, when we take into consideration from deficient to dominion, we have to understand exactly what was happening. Well, Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? And so we know that God created everything from nothing, right? And so now, the earth was void, there was nothing there. And so God strategically, over days, time, made sure that he strategically did everything one by one, and then he rested when he finished. And so now, in the process of God doing all these things, he then had to create man. So that's where we are in Genesis chapter 2. And so he created Adam, or Adam, from the dirt, from the ground. And then he breathed the breath of life into him. And so because God did this intentionally, and he did it strategically after he created the heavens and the earth, then now here we are to find out what God is going to do next, because Adam now has a job to do. And so now God creates Adam first. He breathed the breath of life in him. He gave him a place of residence, the Garden of Eden. He gave him work to do, teaching him and growing him and how to survive on this new planet, on this new world that he created just for this man. And so then from there, we get to come here to chapter 2, where we're understanding that Adam has an assignment. But this assignment is very important because guess what? The Bible teaches us that now, not only did Adam have to till the ground and he had to work the Garden of Eden where he lives, but now God is about to do something new. Yes. So one of the things that we want to make sure that you understand is that be open to what God is doing in your life. That's one of the first points that I want to make sure I point out to you. Be open to what God is doing in your life. So now, Adam didn't know left from right, right from wrong, good from bad. So he has basically no other choice but to rely on God. And one of the things that you have to make sure that you do is to always rely on God, because God will do everything according to his perfect will, according to his perfect plan. And so now he goes and he creates the animals from the ground. It's right there in verse 19. From the ground, God formed every wild animal and every bird in the sky. God literally took nothing. He took what was deficient and created. God can literally take something from nothing. He can create a whole world from nothing. He took something. What was the something? It was the ground. And what did he do? He created the animals and the birds of the air. God literally brings life into something that you think is deficient. And so that's very important for us to understand when we get to understand and know how God is and how God moves and how God operates. Because he doesn't operate based on how we think. That's why the Bible even teaches us, don't lean to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge God and he'll direct your path. So when you want to lean in on your own understanding, just remember you are serving a living God who created everything you know from deficiency, from nothing, from the ground. And so now we're going to move on because guess what? We understand that God transitions the earth from deficiency to dominion. But how did he do that? Well, he used Adam to do that. And in the process, while he created all these animals from the ground, here's something that God did. And you can't read through it too fast because it's right there in verse 19. It says, and he brought them to the man so the man could name them. Oh, did you pick up on it? God brought his creation to Adam. He brought his creation to where Adam was. Here's something that you need to always understand. God can find you wherever you are. Yes. God knows everything about you. He can literally find you wherever you are. He can bring the resources that you need to where you are. If you are where he wants you to be, and if you are in alignment with God's perfect will and his perfect plan for your life, because you have a purpose, he'll make sure that even no matter where you are, he'll bring everything that you need. Now, here's the funniest part about it. Because God literally brings the animals to where Adam is, now he gives Adam work to do. So not only is Adam chosen, he's created from nothing, but now he has more work to do. He had to work and learn how to do the Garden of Eden. Now he has to actually do a job. But this job gives him dominion. Yes. See, dominion means sovereignty or control. So now Adam gets to have sovereignty or dominion over all the animals. Now, here's something else that you got to pay attention to. None of the animals tried to kill him or eat him. Yes. Why? Because God gave Adam dominion. He gave him sovereignty and control over the animals. So much so that not only did God bring them to him, he made sure he protected him from them. Yes. So in the process of all of this, God is making sure that Adam's dominion is also protection. Yes, God will always provide protection for you when you remain in God's perfect will. And in the process of him doing that, he'll make sure that you are covered. And that's a beautiful thing because Adam is here working. He's doing his assignment. He's naming all the animals. That's what his job was. God gave him a whole career. You are the first zoologist. Yes, not only was he the first zoologist, he was the first agriculturalist. Yes, he had to make sure that he named the animals. God is providing everything that the animals need. God brings all the animals. And now he gives Adam dominion. He gives him sovereignty and control to do something very specific. Name them. Whatever Adam named them, that's their name. Isn't that amazing? Now that's a lot of work because there are a lot of animals and there are a lot of different species on the planet. But Adam had one job. He knew the assignment. And in that one assignment, he did everything that he was supposed to do through his God-ordained dominion. Yes, Adam literally went from deficient to dominion. Why? Because he went from having nothing, he went from having a void, lack, to literally being given sovereignty and control over naming all of God's animals and all of God's creation. And so one of the things that you have to understand in this is that in verse 20 it says, the man gave names to all the tame animals. Now that's very specific, okay? The tame animals. And so that means now these aren't just any kind of animals. These are the tame ones. And Adam got to name them because, yep, there are some animals out there that are a little bit scary. And we don't really want to mess with those. So I'm not saying to go out there and just start picking up animals. No, that is not what this is. But what this does mean is that whenever God gives you an assignment and whenever God gives you work to do, whatever it is that you are anointed to do, He will provide and He will protect you so that you can fulfill your purpose in doing just that. And for Adam, it was naming all those animals. And with the animals, here's something else. Adam said, there's no one here that looks like me. There's no one here. Yeah, these animals, we can be cool. I'll name you. But beyond that, no one looks like me. And so that will make us understand that God is up to something and He's up to something great. But guess what? We'll get to that on the next study session. Yes, that means you have to come back. Are you coming back? Yes. Wonderful. So listen, just remember that no matter what situation you're dealing with, God can literally make something from nothing. He did it. He created the whole world. Everything you see and know, God created from nothing. So that means that no matter what you're dealing with, just trust God because you have dominion. Now, how do I have dominion? Oh, so glad that you asked. Well, because you're a child of God, that does not mean that you don't go out there breaking rules. Let's just be clear. Remember, Adam was in alignment with God. He was in God's perfect will so that he could fulfill his purpose. So your dominion is always in alignment with God's perfect will and with God's ordained purpose for your life. And as long as you remain in that vein, guess what? You too have dominion. And God can use you to create something or name something from nothing. Now, maybe you want to be an engineer. Guess what? You can create something from nothing. Maybe you want to be a doctor and figure out a new way to help people. You too can create something from nothing. It's in you. Just tap into it. We listen to music every day. Someone had to create it. Okay? Guess what? Maybe you want to own property. No matter what it is, just remember, stay in perfect alignment. God will provide and He will protect you so that you can fulfill the perfect will of God and the purpose for your life. I love you all dearly. Thank you so much for joining me for our Oak Seed study session. And I will see you all next week as we continue and go back to the basics. Have a great evening.